Welcome everybody to the next step of MLB Guest the Player. As you all know, I've been creating Guest the Player posts on Instagram over the last few years. In addition, I gave power rankings, tournaments, reacting to hot takes, and more. Those additional parts of content has inspired me to expand to YouTube. YouTube has always been something I've been wanting to do, and I think it's now time that I announce the start of something new. I'm Greeny, and I'm here to present my first of many videos. In this video, I'm going to rank every team in Major League Baseball for the upcoming 2024 season while giving a record prediction, MVP, Cy Young, and an X Factor pick, someone who could possibly determine the success or failure of the team. These rankings are going to be split up into 3 different videos. In this video, I'll be covering 30th place to 21st. So let's get right into it. Coming in last, we have the Oakland A's. The Oakland A's are primed for another terrible season. They have a few bright spots, but this team is just not built for winning. However, they may have a really special player with Zach Gelof, who is my MVP pick for them. Gelof made the debut for the team in July and was very good in the 69 games he played. He's a complete player, hit for a decent average, gets on base, decent power, and even stole a few bags. For the Cy Young, there isn't an easy option. I'm gonna go with Paul Blackburn. He didn't have the greatest 2023, but his FIP was .396 compared to his .443 ERA. With a weak rotation, he's my pick. And for the X Factor, I'm going with Esteury Ruiz. His numbers didn't look spectacular, but his average was okay, and he was fairly well in his strikeouts. And most importantly, he stole nearly 70 bags. If he could raise his offensive stats, there might be a good player in him. In 29th place, we got the Colorado Rockies. This team is challenging Oakland for the worst team in baseball. With the best offensive environment in baseball, the complete opposite can be said about their offense. This team has no strengths. Nolan Jones is the lone bright spot on this team after he completely broke out last year. In just over 100 games, he accumulated a 4.3 WAR and OPS at 931. Jones is only 25 and should only keep on improving. For the Cy Young, I'm going with another former Cleveland player, Cal Quantrill. Cal was picked up by the Rockies earlier this offseason, and with nothing really going on for this rotation, he's my pick. From 2020 to 2022, he looked like a great pitcher. 2023 was terrible, but he has the stuff to bounce back for sure. And finally, for the X Factor, I'm gonna go with Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant apparently somehow didn't know what he was getting into when he signed with the Rockies, and so far he's been a complete waste of money for them. He struggled to stay on the field, and when he even plays, it hasn't really been that good. Can he show why he got paid this season? The Chicago White Sox are at 28th. I used to think this team was going to be the next dynasty back then, but it has been everything but that. This team has become a complete dumpster fire in every aspect of the team. They do have a bona fide MVP candidate on their team, however. Luis Robert Jr. is starting to become the superstar he was projected to be. He truly broke out in 2023 with a 5 WAR season, slugging 38 home runs, all with great fielding. I do worry about his ability to get on base as he strikes out a ton and doesn't walk at all, but with all that power it kinda offsets that. The White Sox trade Dylan Cease to the Padres, so now my Cy Young is going to be Garrett Crochet. Garrett was drafted in 2020 and immediately made his debut shortly after the draft. He was used as a reliever, but he has been suffering from injuries since his debut. But now they are slotting him into the rotation and his projections look nice. He throws the ball really fast, and if he could stay healthy, he would likely be their best arm. And finally, for the X Factor, I'm going to go with Andrew Vaughn. He was drafted with the 3rd overall pick in 2019, and so far he has just been average. I feel like he may be running out of time with the Sox, and I feel like he has to put up a great year this season. His stats look average, however he can hit the ball hard and with a solid average exit velocity and hard hit percentage. In 27th, we have the Washington Nationals. If this was split up into tiers, I think the Nats are a tier above the previous 3 teams. The Nationals have some solid pieces, and I wouldn't be surprised if they outperformed their 66 and 96 record prediction I gave them. Lane Thomas was a huge bright spot this year, but I'm really high on CJ Abrams, who is going to be my pick for their MVP. Abrams' stats were not really that good, but he was a former top prospect that showed growth. He doesn't strike out a ton, and he kinda put up some power this year with 18 bombs. He also stole a ton of bags, with 47 of them. For their Cy Young, I'm gonna go with Josiah Gray. Josiah put up his best season of his career with a 3.91 ERA. His WHIP and his FIP were a little high, but he's young and should keep on improving. And Joey Gallo is my choice for their X Factor. He has become a player who hits for an extremely low average while having some solid power. He used to walk a ton, which boosted his on-base percentage, but it's been lacking lately. It seems like he's on a prove-it deal right now, and if he can find his 2019 form, he could be traded to a contender in the deadline and perhaps signed to a solid deal. These next couple teams are interchangeable in my opinion. At 26, we have the Kansas City Royals. After a miserable 56-106 record last season, the Royals decided to add a bunch of solid pieces, and most importantly, they extended Bobby Witt Jr. to a long-term deal, who was without a doubt my MVP pick for them. Bobby had an incredible sophomore season and should be competing for the league's MVP award. He does everything incredible: hits for a solid average, blasts a ton of home runs, steals a ton of bags, incredible fielding, it just goes on and on. He's going to be a problem for the league for years to come. For my Cy Young, I'm going to go with Cole Ragans. Ragans was not good with the Rangers as they dealt him to KC in the Aroldis Chapman trade and turned him into a completely different player. He was the August AL pitcher of the month and was absolutely dominant. I'm liking him a lot for 2024. And finally, my X factor for them is Vidi Pasquantino. The Pasquatch had a very solid rookie season in 2022, but in 2023 he had season-ending shoulder surgery. In his rookie year, he displayed great on-base skills with some pop. If he gets back to his 2022 form, the Royals may outplay my record predictions I have for them. Now at 25, we will have the Los Angeles Angels. They've officially lost Shohei Ohtani and things are not looking good without him. They have some solid offensive weapons, but the pitching looks weak. Mike Trout is staying loyal to the team as he doesn't want to request a trade, which makes him the easy choice for the MVP. Injuries are of course a concern for him, but when he's playing there's arguably nobody better. If only we could see his talents in the playoffs though. For the Cy Young, there wasn't really an easy choice. There have been a bunch of rumors of a potential Blake Snell signing, which would make this choice much easier, but for now I'm going to go with Patrick Sandoval. Sandy had a great 2021 and an even better 2022, pitching to a sub-3 ERA, but he took a step back in 2023 with a 4.11 ERA. I believe he'll bounce back a bit and is the best pitcher in a weaker rotation. And finally for the X Factor, I have Anthony Rendon. It seems like Rendon doesn't even want to play baseball, and what seems like there's a new story about him coming out every month about his work ethic. He got the bag, but he has not been anywhere near worth it outside of a shortened 2020 season where he was excellent. We will see if he proves the haters wrong, but I'm not really expecting much of him. At 24, we have the Pittsburgh Pirates. I really like the Pirates' future, and I believe they're just a few years away from taking the next step. However, I think there are many holes on this team, and I don't really see them competing just yet. My MVP pick is of course Brian Reynolds. Now signed long term, he's the player Pittsburgh's going to build around. He took a minor step back in 2023, but he still had an all-around solid season. For their Cy Young, I was debating between David Bednar and Mitch Keller, but I sided the role of Keller. Keller put up his best season to date last year, which earned him a nice extension. He pitched nearly 200 innings, struck out 210 batters, while not walking too many batters. He started out stronger than he ended, as he finished with a 4.21 ERA, but I'm confident it will be lowered this next season. My X Factor for them is a fun player in O'Neal Cruz. We were robbed of seeing a full season of him last year, as he suffered an early injury, but his back end is killing it in spring training. He hits the ball insanely hard and is extremely fast, making him a very exciting player to watch. If he stays healthy, he'll be a treat for fans to watch. Now unfortunately falling a bit from last year, we have the Milwaukee Brewers coming in at 23rd place. They dealt with the perennial Cy Young candidate Corbin Burnes, and they lost Brandon Woodruff for the year with an injury. Their previous strength has now turned into a possible weakness, and I'll get into that after my MVP pick. William Contreras is my selection for their MVP. William was sent to Milwaukee from Atlanta and has been excellent in his first season. In Atlanta, he was a great bat with below average fielding, but Milwaukee kept his batting skills while turning him into a great fielder, thus making him into one of the best catchers in baseball. Now while their pitching isn't what it used to be, Freddie Peralta will slide in as their ace and is my pick for their Cy Young. He has been the third option of the former three-headed monster they had in years past, and Freddie has been very good. A sub-4 ERA in 4 consecutive years with an extremely good strikeout rate, it softens the pain of losing Corbin Burnes. The Brewers have a potential superstar in the way with their number 2 prospect in baseball, Jackson Chourio, who is the X Factor. Chourio, at just over 20 years old, has already signed an extension and he has been raking in the minors. They're likely going to call him up this year and hope he can bring his elite skills to the major leagues in his first season. Coming in at 22, I've selected the Cleveland Guardians. The Guardians have been kinda mid every season and I do not see a change in that. They do have a knockout player though in Jose Ramirez, who will punch in as their MVP. J-Ram has consistently been a top tier third baseman in the league and is just a complete player all around. He walked as much as he struck out, gets on base, stole some bases, and more. He has shown no signs of slowing down. The Cy Young is going to be Shane Bieber. Bieber has been involved in a lot of trade rumors over the last few years, but he remains in Cleveland to start 2024. Bieber took a step back in 2023, but is still a solid pitcher. He didn't pitch as much in 2023, but he should get more innings this year and aim for a mid-3 ERA. And for the X Factor, I'm going to go with Tanner Bibby. Bibby made his debut in late April and was very solid for the whole year. He pitched an excellent 2.98 ERA, striking out 141 batters in 142 innings. If he takes another step up, Cleveland's rotation is going to look really good. And the final team for this video, in 21st place, I have the Detroit Tigers. Detroit has a bright future, and they're starting to get closer to contention. My MVP is going to be Riley Green. Riley was a former top 5 prospect, and he made his debut in 2022. His 2023 sophomore season wasn't incredible, but it was promising. He for a great 288 average, got on base decently, and an OPS just under 800. His advanced stats look really good though, as he may have underperformed last season compared to his expected stats. With an improved Tigers team, that may push Riley to the next level. My Cy Young is going to be Tarik Skubal. Skubal has been a popular Cy Young choice, and for good reason. He missed around half the year last year, but he looked incredible when he played. In 80 innings, he pitched to a 2.80 ERA, struck out 102 batters, and a whip at a microscopic 0.90. His Savant page is filled with dark red circles, and he looks primed to have another insane year. My pick for their X Factor is Kerry Carpenter. Nicknamed Kerry Bonds, Carpenter had a really solid second year in the league. He had a solid average, good OPS at over 800, and he had 20 bombs. The Tigers would benefit greatly if he kept up these stats. So that wraps up my first video. Expect part 2 to come out within the next couple weeks. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and please leave a like and share with your friends, as it will really help the start of my channel. Thanks again, and I'll see you all later.